Hello everyone, I just wanted to make a quick video to show you again the process of factoring a quadratic equation using the box method whenever you have a coefficient on x squared that's bigger than 1. So if we're given an equation like this, the first thing they'd like to do is to get everything over to one side and have it all set equal to 0 so that way we can start trying to factor it. So I would want to move everything from this side to the other side of the equation by performing the opposite operation. So I'll subtract 3x from this side. I'll also subtract that 7. What I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other. So that means everything over here is going to reduce down to 0. And then what I'm left with on this side is 15x squared. Negative 8x and negative 3x is negative 11x. Negative 7 and negative 7 is negative 14. All right, now I've got everything set equal to 0, and so I want to start trying to factor it. And so by using the box method, what we would do is we would draw our box, and then the first term of our quadratic equation is going to go into the first panel of the box. The last term goes into the last panel of the box. And now we have to do some work to find out what our x terms are going to be. So what we're looking for is I want to find factors of a times c. So that's 15 times negative 14. Right? Looking for factors of a times c, which would be 15 times negative 14 or negative 210. So I want to find numbers that multiply together to give me negative 210, but they need to add up to give me negative 11. So negative 210 is going to have a lot of factors. I like to start by listing the factors starting with 1 and the number. And then I kind of work my way up from 1. So I think, is 2 a factor? It is, because the number's even. And so that would be 2 and negative 105. About 3. 3 is a factor also. 3 and negative 70. 4 is not a factor because I didn't get an even number when I divided by 2. 5 is going to be a factor. That's going to be 5 and 42. All right, I'll just kind of work my way up through the list of factors. I need some more room here. What about 6? Yes, 6 is a factor because I can divide by both 2 and 3. So I get 6 and negative 35. It's also a factor. 7 is a factor. I get 7 and negative 30. Let's see. 8 is not, 9 is not. What do I get? 10. 10 is a factor. 10 and negative 21. Right? And we could keep going, but I've actually found the factors that I'm looking for right here in 10 and negative 21. Here is the set of factors that multiply together to give me negative 210, and they add together to give me the negative 11 that I'm looking for. So once we find our factors, then those factors will come into the box, and that's where they get their x. Right there, it's in the box, right? So these are going to be the x terms that we're looking for. 10x and negative 21x will go into the box. So now we've got the inside of our box filled out. All we need to do is go through and factor this out. Now the key is, when we have an a that's bigger than 1, we have to deal with this number here. This also has to get factored out of the box. And so that number is either going to come out of this column here, it's going to come out of this row right here, or it could potentially come out of both. It can come out of both if this number can be written as a product of two different factors. And so if we view 15 as a product of 5 and 3, then we can see how we can pull out both of those factors from this row and from this column. Right? We have to be able to divide them both out. And so the way that I always start is I know that I need x times x to make that x squared in there. Now I'm going to start working on the coefficient, right? So if I view 15 as 5 times 3, then which column or row can I pull the 5 out of? I can pull it out of this column here, right? Both of these numbers could be divided by 5. So I'm going to pull that 5 out, and it's going to come up to this factor here. So I'll pull the 5 out of the box that way, and that means that my 3 is going to come out of the box this way, because both of these numbers can be divided by 3. So my 3 comes out here. And now we just have to think, what do we have left, right? 5x times what gets me to 10x? Well, that's a positive 2. And 3x times what gets me to negative 21x? This would be a negative 7. So the factors of this quadratic equation are now outside of our box. This can be rewritten as 5x minus 7 times 3x plus 2 is equal to 0. And now almost done. We've got factors but not solutions. So we want to take each one of those factors and set them equal to 0. And then we can solve for it. 5x minus 7 is equal to 0. 3x plus 2 is equal to 0. And we'll go through and solve. Going to do this by first adding 7. And then we're left with 5x is equal to 7. Dividing by 5 tells me that x is equal to 7/5. There's one solution. The other one is going to come from solving this equation. So we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. I'm left with 3x is equal to negative 2. And then dividing by 3 tells me that x is equal to negative 2/3. So there's my two solutions to the quadratic equation. So just kind of a quick run through of how to factor a quadratic equation when a is bigger than 1 using the box method. I'm also going to show you a couple of extra problems that you can use to practice on your own using this method. So here's a few extra problems here. You can use the same method in order to attempt to try to solve these ones.